It is getting quite spicy in the video game world right now, specifically the sealed and graded video game world. WATA and Heritage Auction, they work simultaneously together, are being accused of manipulating the market and of unethical practices. The reason why this is pertinent to the channel is because I just got back my sealed graded game from WATA last week. I put up a video, and in the same day, a very important video is also released, basically, quote, exposing WATA and Heritage Auction. We have a ton to cover in today's video, and I want to know your thoughts as well. Stick around. What is up, Internet? Retro here, and welcome back to another video, a very different type video. Today, we have a lot to talk about. There is so much going on right now in the retro video game world, specifically in sealed and graded video games. And to get even more specific, with two companies that work simultaneously together, WATA and Heritage Auction. Now, the reason why this is important to us is because I just got back a game from WATA. My very first game I've ever got graded from WATA. It is my Super Mario Bros. 3, 9.4. A great grade. I was super pumped about it. I made a video, a big reveal, one of my best videos to date on the channel, and in the same day, a very important video was released, basically, quote, exposing WATA and Heritage Auction.
I knew there had to be more to this story than meets the eye, and boy, was I not wrong.
So this is a very interesting video. It had me glued the entire time. I'm fascinated just already by this kind of stuff, but I will link it down below. The guy who made the video, his name is Karl Jobst. I believe that's how you say it. I could be saying that wrong, and forgive me if I do that the whole video. But it's a very interesting video. I highly suggest you watching it, getting your thoughts as well. I'm going to give you kind of the short version of what happened, but again, if you want to know all the details, and again, I also suggest watching it. I'll link it down below. So I'm going to catch you up first on this game. So I got this a while back, years ago, probably 6-7+ years ago at a convention. I traded a Earthbound cart for this at a convention. Straight across, I had very little into the Earthbound cart. This is all relevant because I'm going to tell you again what I'm thinking I'm going to do later with this. But, so I traded that for Mario Bros. 3, brand new, you know, it's never been opened, sealed, H-seamed, the whole thing, and it has just sat on my shelf for years. Haven't really thought about it. I just always thought, hey, that's a really cool piece. Actually, my favorite piece in the collection, one of my favorite games of all time, and it's just kind of it's a cool piece to talk about when people come in the room and they're like, hey, what's your favorite piece? I usually pull that down. Haven't really thought that much about getting it graded, just because I don't know. I didn't want to sell it. Like, I love it. I want to keep it in the collection, and it never really crossed my mind to really go that route, go that avenue of getting it graded and everything. And but then in the past, I think year and a half, 2-ish years, this sealed video game market has literally exploded. I think the first game that went for just obscene money was a Mario Bros. 1, and it sold for like $100 grand. And I remember when that came out, I was like, holy crap, $100,000 for Mario, the original Mario sealed. And then I think a couple months later, another one sold for more, and then you fast forward, a Zelda sold for like $600K, and then in July, that was the big one that really like had my head turned. Mario 64, one of the most well-known games, I think the #1 sold game on N64, sold for $1.5 million. $1.5 million, and at that point, I had kind of already started to think through and stew over, man, should I get this graded? I still didn't know if I was going to sell it or not, but I was just thinking, like, is this the smartest thing to do right now with all these games just being sold for crazy prices? So we ended up doing it. I was like, yeah, let's do it. I still had no idea exactly what I was going to do with the game, but the first step was to at least get it graded and to see what kind of grade it would get. I was thinking it was going to get around a 9. It got a 9.4. Wow. Y'all, a freaking 9.4, which was even better than I thought. And at the time last week of looking, I think this was worth right around 18,000. The last one that sold, a 9.4 and an A, sold for like right around 18. But I think yesterday or the day before on Heritage Auction, one sold for a 9.2, sold for like 24,000. So it's hard to say right now what this is worth. I would say roughly in the neighborhood of 20K plus. So that's a lot of money, right? It's a ton of money. But I still have not, I didn't know what I was going to do with it yet. But again, then this video comes out. So I'm going to give you the real short version of what Karl Jobst is kind of explaining in this video. Please go check it out and watch it for yourself to get more info. But basically the idea is this market, this video game sealed market, was not organic. It didn't just happen. It was premeditated. This was thought through by a couple different people. So when you think about markets, typically you have, kind of the law of supply and demand. I think about the PS5. Since we're in the gaming world, let's talk about the PS5. A lot of PS5s, especially when they first came out, they sell for, $500 in the store, but you couldn't get them, right? People were buying them and then they were flipping them. This happens all the time when a new console comes out. You're gonna see PS5 selling on eBay for $1,000, $1,500, scalpers. They buy lots of them, as many as they can, and then they sell them for a profit. So again, it's the whole idea of supply and demand. People want a PS5. That's the key. People want it, and that's why people pay this price. Whenever you have a manipulated market, which we're talking about in kind of the theory is behind these graded games, that market is not organic. And at the end of the day, nobody really wants these games sealed, which is kind of a head turner for me. And I had thought about that in the past, but not like in depth. Whenever I heard about, Zelda selling for 600K, I remember, texting buddies, collectors that I know, and I'm like, who is buying these games? Like, it's just crazy. I know zero collectors, that are spending this type of money on sealed games. Most game collectors want to collect games on a budget. They want to get them as cheap as possible because it's just the smart way to do it, in my opinion. So whenever you're hearing people spend, so for instance, 25,000 on this, it's like, who at the end of the rainbow is buying this for $25,000? I don't know that person, and I've heard zero people that do that. So that's the whole idea. How did this market even come to be? So you have two people that are involved with basically the manipulation. In theory, again, please go watch the video. I'm going to say that over and over again. But it is Heritage Auction and WATA. WATA is the grading company, one of the big two grading companies that grade games. But what's super interesting, and another thing I didn't really think about, was they're not the first ones. VGA, Video Game Authority, they started grading games like a decade ago. And when you dig deep into this whole story, you see a couple different red flags. The first being this market, this video game graded market, didn't explode when VGA started. It didn't. You would think, oh, well, obviously, as soon as the graded game market came out, into the world, that's when investors and potential people that wanted to invest into something to make money, it would have happened then. It actually didn't. Like, games were selling back then, but there was no like definitive time where, man, this market really exploded. The market did not explode until WATA came out onto the scene. Now, I am still going to say, guys, I'm pretty indifferent right now. I lean a little bit more towards, seeing all the red flags in this video, but in my short 34 years of life, I have learned one thing, and that is to not jump immediately as soon as you hear something. I can't wait to hear, what Heritage comes back and says, and WATA comes back and says, because I want to hear their take, honestly. But given the information that we see, it doesn't look good. It definitely looks shady. I'm just throwing that out there. So the market had not exploded yet, anything like it is right now, and then WATA comes out on the scene. So not a well-known company at all. I don't think they started grading games until 2018. But some of the things that were uncovered in the video is, number one, is the two people that the founder of Heritage Auction, his name is Jim Halperin, and the president of WATA, Dennis Kahn, are in relationship together. Like they have business backgrounds together and connections together, which that's already a red flag because of conflict of interest, right? Whenever you're talking about especially getting games graded and putting them on auction sites, both parties are benefiting, right? So WATA's benefiting because they're the premier provider of games being sold on Heritage, and Heritage gets a huge chunk of money. They get like 20% or even more. So when, you know, the game sells for a Mario Bros just sold for over 2 million, they get roughly 400K of that sale, which is pretty nuts. So you can see why it would benefit people to work together. But is it completely ethical or legal? So basically, we dive back into this video, and what's happening is WATA is a unknown company, and they basically get a deal with Heritage Auction to start grading games, and them being the premier grader, provider of games to Heritage, and then Heritage in turn auctions those off. The reason why this is a little strange is because that's the whole idea behind grading games, is getting validation of authenticity and of condition. So it's a little strange to say like, hey, we want to make a deal with you to start using your expertise, and we're gonna use you as the main provider of these games, and we're gonna sell them on Heritage. They weren't even like, you know, validated as a company yet. Like, it's super strange. And then what Karl does is he goes back even further and just finds all of these connections from this person to this person and this person. It is extremely interesting and has a lot of people talking right now. I mean, that's the basic of it, or the basis of it. It's just like, something feels weird and afoot and a little sketchy. So, and I'm in that boat. I will say this. First off, I was indifferent still on selling this or keeping it because I genuinely love this game. I loved this piece before it was in this stupid acrylic case, and I love it now. I am thinking about what to do from here, and I would love your thoughts. Initially, right off the bat, if you guys want to know where I stand, I do think there's some shady stuff going on, and right now, moving forward, if I was to find a sealed game, I would not send it into WATA. There's just too much right now that seems weird and feels off, that I wouldn't do it, and I would wait probably a good long time, if I ever even did, to make sure and validate that, okay, all of this was misunderstood or whatever. Again, that's neither here or there. I don't know that. But for now, I am not going to use WATA. And then additionally to that, I don't feel comfortable, even if I wanted to sell this, I don't feel comfortable selling this on Heritage Auction. I just don't, man. There's a lot going on, and I don't feel good about it. So some people might think I'm crazy. I've had so many people reach out to me, and they're like, sell, you gotta sell right now until the market, you know, dies and crashes. Guys, that's not, like, at the end of the day, I love collecting video games. Like, would $20,000 be amazing? It would, but I still didn't know if I was even gonna sell it. So given all this information that's come out, there's no way I can sell it. Like, I wouldn't feel right selling it until things kind of get cleared, if they ever even do get cleared. So here's kind of the whole idea behind this, though. I guess not idea. Here are basically my options, and again, I still want to know what you guys would think or would do. There's really only 5 options for me at this point. The first one is to sell it through Heritage. I'm not going to do that. I could sell it through eBay. So at this point, if I didn't want to work through Heritage because I felt sketchy about it, I've already got this back from WATA. I could just throw it up on eBay. We talked about it in the last video. Throw a crazy high number on it and just let it sit. I'm not going to do that either. I could keep the game as is. That's option 3. I could just keep it, and that's what I'm feeling like right now. I think I'm just going to keep it, put it on the shelf, let things kind of play out. Number 4, I could keep the game, and I could just open it. I could literally crack the case and basically start from scratch and put it back up on the shelf in just the regular sealed condition. Or option 5, I could keep it, crack it open, and send it to VGA, because there hasn't been anything really sketchy with VGA that I've heard, at least. So those are my options. Let me know what you guys think down below, but that's where I'm at. This is a crazy thing that is happening. I'm going to continue to follow it. Karl Jobst did an amazing job just uncovering some things. Again, I lean more towards like, this looks weird, but I want to know what the response is going to be from Heritage and WATA. Guys, that is it for now. That's where we're at. We're going to keep it. We're going to put it up on the shelf and wait for this all to play out and unfold. I'm actually really excited to see what's going to happen. This kind of stuff like gets me excited, because I'm like, I love retro video games, and for Rolling Stones magazine, for huge sources to be talking about video games is really cool, man. This is my passion. I love collecting video games, and I'm just excited to see what happens. I am not bummed, guys. I am not like, people have also texted me and they're like, dude, you've got to be so disappointed. I love video games, man. I want to keep this. I thought about keeping it before I even saw the $20,000. I love it. It's awesome, man. It's gonna go on my shelf. Some people might think I'm insane, but I'm excited to have it and to put it up on the shelf and just display it for now. Again, let me know your comments down below. Thank you for hanging out, for watching. Subscribe if you have not already. Until next time, peace.